There was a time when owning a British car didn't require winning the lottery. Ordinary families, factory workers, young couples, and first-time drivers could all afford cars that offered dependable transport without emptying their bank accounts. Some became the family car for an entire generation. Others stayed on British roads for decades because owners simply couldn't find a reason to replace them. This isn't a list of luxury cars. It's a celebration of the affordable British cars that helped millions of families enjoy the freedom of driving. If your family owned one of these classics, let us know in the comments. And if we miss one of your favorites, tell us below. We'd love to hear your memories. Now, here are 10 British cars every family could actually afford. Number 10. Austin A35. For many British families during the 1950s, the Austin A35 wasn't just another small car. It represented independence. Before owning a car, families relied heavily on buses and trains. Weekend trips required careful planning. Shopping meant carrying heavy bags home by hand, and visiting relatives often became an all-day journey. The Austin A35 changed that. Small enough to park almost anywhere and inexpensive enough for ordinary working families, it quickly became one of Britain's most popular budget cars. Its little engine wasn't powerful, but that wasn't the point. It was economical, dependable, and incredibly simple to maintain. Local mechanics understood it perfectly, spare parts were easy to find, and repairs rarely cost a fortune. Young couples especially loved the A35 because it allowed them to own their first family car without taking on huge financial commitments. Many people still remember packing the children into the back seats before heading to the seaside during summer holidays. It wasn't luxurious. It wasn't fast, but it always seemed willing to keep going. Even today, surviving Austin A35s appear at classic car shows across Britain, reminding visitors of a time when simple engineering and honest reliability mattered far more than expensive technology. For thousands of British families, the Austin A35 opened the door to car ownership. And once people experienced that freedom, they rarely wanted to give it up. But while Austin focused on simplicity, Ford soon introduced a small family car that looked unlike anything else on British roads. Number 9. Ford Anglia 105e. Even if you know nothing about classic cars, you've probably seen the Ford Anglia before. Its unusual rear window, sloping backwards instead of forwards, made it instantly recognizable. When it arrived in 1959, many people thought the design looked strange. Before long, they absolutely loved it. The Anglia offered something every family wanted: modern styling, excellent fuel economy, affordable running costs, and enough room for everyday family life. For many parents, it became the perfect school-run car. For young drivers, it often became their very first vehicle. Its dependable engine gained a reputation for lasting years with proper maintenance, while Ford's huge dealer network meant servicing was available almost everywhere in Britain. That gave owners confidence. Unlike many imported cars, parts were inexpensive and easy to find. Families appreciated another important advantage. The Anglia held its value surprisingly well. Buying one didn't feel like throwing money away because there was always demand for used examples. It became one of those rare cars that appealed to almost everyone. Young couples, retired drivers, small business owners, even driving instructors. The Ford Anglia wasn't exciting because of speed. It succeeded because it delivered exactly what ordinary British families needed: reliable transport at a sensible price. And that formula worked brilliantly. Still, another British manufacturer would soon produce a car that squeezed an entire family's lifestyle into an incredibly tiny package. Number 8. Mini. Few cars have ever offered so much for so little money. When the Mini arrived in 1959, it completely changed what people expected from a small family car. Looking at it from the outside, many assumed it would barely fit 2 people. Then they opened the doors. Suddenly there was room for an entire family. Its clever front-wheel drive layout allowed engineers to maximize every inch of interior space, creating one of the most practical small cars ever built. That practicality made it hugely attractive to ordinary British households. Running costs remained extremely low. Insurance was affordable. Fuel consumption impressed almost everyone. And because so many Minis were built, replacement parts stayed inexpensive for decades. Students bought them. Newly married couples bought them. Retired people bought them. Even celebrities drove Minis. But despite becoming fashionable, it never lost its identity as Britain's affordable people's car. The Mini also proved remarkably enjoyable to drive. Its light steering and excellent handling made every journey entertaining, whether you were driving through London traffic or winding country roads. Many families kept the same Mini for years because replacing it simply didn't make financial sense. It just kept working. That combination of affordability, practicality, and personality helped turn the Mini into one of Britain's greatest automotive success stories. Yet another small British car soon challenged it by offering something slightly different: comfort, more luggage space, and family-friendly practicality. Number 7. Morris Minor 1000. Ask almost any older British motorist about the Morris Minor, and chances are they'll smile. That's because this wasn't simply another affordable car. For countless families, it became part of everyday life. Introduced after the Second World War and continuously improved throughout the following years, the Morris Minor 1000 became one of Britain's best-loved family cars. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't powerful, but it offered something far more valuable: dependability. Owners quickly discovered the Minor could handle years of daily use without constant expensive repairs. Families used them for school runs, grocery shopping, holidays, commuting, and weekend adventures. Many remained with the same owners for decades. Its comfortable suspension handled Britain's uneven roads surprisingly well, while the roomy interior comfortably accommodated parents, children, and luggage. Mechanically, the Minor remained beautifully straightforward. Home mechanics often performed basic servicing themselves, saving even more money. Perhaps that's why so many examples survived. Owners didn't want to part with them. They became trusted companions rather than disposable possessions. Even today, seeing a Morris Minor driving through a British village immediately brings back memories for thousands of people. It reminds them of family holidays, Sunday drives, and a simpler Britain. But by the late 1960s, British families wanted something slightly more modern without spending significantly more money. Austin had the perfect answer. Number 6. Austin Allegro. Few British cars have divided opinion quite like the Austin Allegro. Today, it often receives criticism. But during its early years, many ordinary families bought one because it offered exactly what they could afford. The Allegro arrived during a difficult economic period. Fuel prices were rising. Household budgets were under pressure. Families wanted practical transport that didn't cost a fortune to buy or maintain. Austin responded with a comfortable front-wheel drive family hatchback, offering respectable fuel economy and affordable servicing. Inside, the Allegro provided generous seating and a smooth ride that impressed many owners. Children fitted comfortably in the rear. Shopping disappeared easily into the boot, and maintenance costs remained relatively modest. While journalists sometimes criticized its styling, everyday buyers care more about monthly expenses than magazine headlines. For thousands of families, the Allegro simply did its job. It took children to school, parents to work, grandparents to family gatherings, and holiday makers to the seaside. Not every affordable car needed to become a performance legend. Sometimes reliability and low ownership costs mattered much more. Although history hasn't always been kind to the Austin Allegro, many former owners still remember it fondly because it provided dependable family transport when they needed it most. And the next car on our list became even more successful with Britain's working families. Number 5, Hillman Avenger. During the 1970s, thousands of British families found themselves looking for one thing: a dependable family car that didn't stretch the household budget. The Hillman Avenger answered that need perfectly. Built with practicality in mind, the Avenger offered 4 proper doors, a spacious cabin, and a surprisingly large boot, making it ideal for growing families. Parents appreciated how easy it was to drive, while mechanics appreciated how easy it was to repair. That meant lower servicing bills and fewer unexpected expenses. For many working families, every pound mattered. The Avenger helped keep those costs under control. Its economical engines delivered respectable fuel consumption, and replacement parts remained affordable throughout its life. Unlike many larger saloons, the Avenger never tried to impress anyone with luxury. Instead, it focused on doing everyday jobs exceptionally well. Children traveled to school in them. Parents drove them to factories and offices. Families loaded them with luggage before heading towards Blackpool, Cornwall, or the Scottish Highlands during summer holidays. Many owners later admitted they never planned to keep their Avenger for so many years. It simply refused to wear out. Even after changing owners several times, countless examples continued serving British families well into the 1980s. That reputation for honest reliability made the Hillman Avenger one of Britain's forgotten family heroes. Yet another affordable British car would soon become almost impossible to avoid on British roads. Number 4. Ford Cortina. If one car defined everyday British motoring during the 1960s and 1970s, it was undoubtedly the Ford Cortina. Almost everywhere you looked, there seemed to be another Cortina. Driveways, supermarket car parks, office buildings, motorway service stations. The Cortina became Britain's favorite family car because it managed to balance affordability with practicality better than almost anything else available. Buyers could choose from simple budget versions or slightly better equipped models, depending on their income. That flexibility allowed the Cortina to appeal to almost everyone. Young families bought them as their first proper family car. Company drivers covered thousands of motorway miles in them. Retired couples appreciated their comfort and simplicity. Running costs remained sensible, while Ford's massive dealer network meant servicing was never difficult. If something broke, replacement parts were usually available almost immediately. That gave owners enormous confidence. Many families traded one Cortina for another because they simply trusted the model. It became more than transport. It became part of British life itself. Even decades later, older motorists still speak warmly about the Cortina because it reminds them of holidays, family outings, and everyday memories. Very few cars ever became so deeply connected with ordinary British families. But one final affordable British car would become even more famous for surviving almost anything. Number 3. Morris Marina. Today, the Morris Marina often receives mixed opinions from classic car enthusiasts. However, during the 1970s, it became one of Britain's biggest selling family cars. The reason was surprisingly simple. It was affordable. British Leyland designed the Marina specifically for ordinary motorists who wanted practical transport without paying executive car prices. Thousands of families walked into dealerships and discovered they could comfortably afford one. Its roomy cabin, straightforward engineering, and inexpensive maintenance made it attractive to households trying to manage tight budgets. Mechanically, the Marina remained uncomplicated. That meant servicing costs stayed relatively low compared with many rivals. Although it wasn't known for exciting performance, it didn't need to be. Its job was carrying families safely and reliably from one destination to another. And for many owners, it performed that role perfectly well. The Marina became a familiar sight throughout Britain. Builders drove them. Teachers drove them. Sales representatives drove them. Young families trusted them with everyday life. Today, surviving examples often attract nostalgic smiles because they remind people of an era when affordability mattered far more than prestige. The Marina may never have been glamorous, but it certainly helped thousands of British families enjoy car ownership. And the next car became one of Britain's greatest small car success stories. Number 2. Vauxhall Viva. For many British families during the 1960s and 1970s, buying a brand new car still felt like a major achievement. The Vauxhall Viva helped make that dream possible. Affordable, economical, and surprisingly practical, it quickly became one of Britain's most successful small family cars. The Viva appealed to people who wanted dependable transport without spending more than necessary. Young couples often bought one after getting married. Parents trusted it for school runs and weekly shopping. Retired drivers appreciated its light steering and easy handling. Running costs remained impressively low. Its modest engine delivered excellent fuel economy, while servicing rarely caused financial headaches. That combination proved especially important during periods when household budgets were under increasing pressure. Unlike expensive executive cars, the Viva didn't pretend to be something it wasn't. It offered honest value, and that's exactly what buyers wanted. Many examples stayed within the same family for years. Older brothers passed them down to younger brothers. Parents eventually gave them to their children as first cars. Some continued serving faithfully for well over a decade. Even today, many classic car enthusiasts remember the Viva as one of Britain's most sensible family purchases. It never became famous because it was fast. It became famous because it simply worked. Reliable transport at a price ordinary people could genuinely afford. Yet despite the Viva's enormous success, one British car became even more closely connected with everyday family life than almost any other. A car that millions of people still remember with enormous affection. Number 1. Morris Minor 1000. If there is one British car that truly deserves the title of the people's car, it has to be the Morris Minor 1000. For nearly a quarter of a century, it remained one of Britain's most affordable, dependable, and beloved family cars. Introduced in the late 1940s and continuously improved over the following decades, the Minor helped transform British motoring. Millions of ordinary families who had previously relied on buses and trains suddenly discovered they could own a car of their very own. The Morris Minor wasn't expensive. That was its greatest strength. Its simple engineering kept maintenance costs low. Fuel economy remained respectable. Insurance was affordable, and repairs could often be carried out by owners themselves. Families quickly realized they had purchased something special. The Minor handled everyday life beautifully. It collected children from school, carried shopping home every weekend, transported families to holidays around Britain, and faithfully started on cold winter mornings when people needed it most. Many owners became emotionally attached to their Morris Minor. Some refused to sell them even after buying newer vehicles. Others kept them for 20 or 30 years because replacing such a dependable companion simply didn't seem worthwhile. Even today, the Morris Minor continues attracting crowds wherever it appears. Classic car shows across Britain regularly feature beautifully restored examples that still drive exactly as they did decades ago. That says everything about its quality. It wasn't the fastest. It wasn't the most luxurious. But it achieved something far more important. It gave ordinary British families the freedom of affordable car ownership. For millions of people, that made the Morris Minor one of the greatest family cars Britain has ever produced. Ultra. These cars weren't bought by millionaires. They were bought by ordinary people who needed dependable transport without breaking the family budget. Many became trusted companions for years, creating memories that owners still talk about today. Which of these affordable British cars brings back the strongest memories for you? Did your family own one, or did we miss another classic that deserved a place on this list? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to UKTorque for more incredible stories from Britain's automotive history.